Your network is your net worth. Come listen to some of the most successful people I know share invaluable knowledge, stories, and advice in real estate, business, and beyond. This is Weiss Advice. Whether you want to take your business or personal life to the next level, look no further. Welcome to Weiss Advice. I'm your host, Yonah Weiss. I wanted to tell you a little bit about why I started this podcast. So someone asked me on an episode recently that I pre-recorded, which is going to get launched a little later on, but I figured I'd say this now as kind of an introduction to this amazing podcast we just started. So Weiss Advice, I'm all about adding value. Okay, this is what I do all day long, every day, whether it's through cost segregation, helping people save money on their income tax, whether it's through LinkedIn and social media and just trying to help other people. This is what I'm about, adding value. Now, I've been a guest on over 100 podcasts. It's a pretty incredible feat if you think about it, the fact that 2 years ago, I hadn't been a guest on one single podcast. So if you do the math, that's pretty much about one podcast every week, averaging for the past 2 years. One of the most incredible things that I learned about being a guest on other people's podcasts is that some people get it and some people don't. What I mean by that is some people are just naturals at, whether it's speaking or whether it's asking the right questions or just engaging and able to communicate with the guest. I think I did a pretty good job, maybe found my place in doing that so many times. But I found that I actually love to do this. So I thought, hey, why don't I host my own podcast and get a lot of guests to come down and share their knowledge and their wisdom? But then I thought there's so many podcasts out there that are talking about the same things. And I know that because I was a guest, like I said, on over 100 podcasts. And a lot of them were talking about cost segregation, which means I went on, 100 podcasts and talked about the same exact thing over and over and over again. And so a lot of these podcast hosts, they have a platform where they want to share information, but that information is like subject matter. So you can go to a university and you can basically pick a podcast and say, each podcast is going to be my university. I'm going to learn everything I need to know about syndication, about real estate investing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, from this podcast or that podcast, and whatever style you kind of relate to, that's going to be where you're going to go. However, some of the guests on each of these podcasts, including myself, are going to be the same, which means you better just stick to one or else you're going to hear the same thing over and over again. I decided I don't want to have a subject matter podcast. Weiss Advice is about life. It's about advice. It's about learning from the best in real estate, business, and beyond, not just about the subject matter that you need to know to learn, but learning from the people and what makes the people tick, what makes these entrepreneurs successful, what they're living, and some of these things we're talking about current events. These are the type of conversations that I've been having in these recordings that I'm so excited to be blasting out, every single week, probably 2 to 3 recordings a week, so that everyone can learn from some of the most successful people that I know. I feel extremely privileged, and they say that your network is your net worth. What does that mean? That means that you can actually have no money, but you can be extremely wealthy. And I feel this way in life a lot of times, that what you have, sometimes the intangible assets are far more valuable than the tangible assets. So having such an incredible network, so many people, thousands of people that I feel connected with and close to, and enough so that some of these people are extremely successful. Many of them are, multimillionaires and have had extremely success, not only in business and in wealth, physical, monetary, but also in spiritual, emotional, mental, and they are role models and leaders for many others out there. So if you're listening to this and you chose to find Weiss Advice as a podcast, a platform that you want to come and learn from, I am so grateful to you, because I'm here together with you asking these incredible people questions that I want to learn from, not about the subject matter that they're experts in, rather from their own lives and their experiences that they have themselves become experts in. So I urge you to join me, to subscribe, to share this with other people because there's so much value that's going to be coming out over the next weeks and months and hopefully years that this is just going to continue to grow and grow until we can actually make Weiss Advice the #1 podcast in the world. We're going all in. So if you're with me for this journey, please let me know. Please leave a good review if you like this, and let me know who you want to have as a guest because I want to hear from you. I want to have conversations with incredible people, okay? Happens to be most of the people that are in my network currently are in the real estate world one way or another. Happens to be that the majority, vast majority, if not 90% or more of the most wealthy people in America have their wealth through real estate. Whether they're from business, they invest in real estate. So there is a common denominator why real estate is always mentioned in the podcast. You'll notice. And hopefully that can inspire you and me to follow the lead of these people to live the life that we want to live and make the choices that will get us to that life. And I just want to thank you for being an incredible listener. I hope you learned something from this, and I will hopefully hear from you soon. Real quick, I have one question for you. Did you like this episode? If you did, I want to ask you a huge favor. See, the biggest thing that helps this podcast grow and that will spread this message to the whole world is that if you leave a review, a rating, and subscribe to the podcast. What that does is it basically tells the platforms that this podcast is out on is that you like my stuff and I'm doing something right. So take a few seconds out of your day, hit that subscribe button, leave a rating or review. I would be extremely grateful. Also, I want to hear from you guys. So I want to hear some feedback. If you have any questions for future episodes, please find me on LinkedIn. Send me a DM, a connection request, Yonah Weiss, and I'd love to hear from you.